All right, wait, now don't get me wrong. Fasting is absolutely the biggest reason that I've had so much success in my weight loss journey. The reason I've lost 96 pounds, the reason that I've hit goal weight, reversed my type 2 diabetes, the reason I'm wearing size 27 waist pants. But you'll be fooling yourself if you think that fasting is the only component in my success. Today, we're going to break things down in 4 different segments. We're going to talk about fasting. We're going to talk about diet, nutrition. We're going to talk about exercise. And then we're going to talk about the mind, the mindset, the mentality, probably, at least for me, one of the most important things in finding success in this journey. When it comes to fasting, I'm sure a lot of you know this story. I've been fasting for over a year. I've lost 96 pounds. I hit my goal weight. I am now entering a maintenance mode, and I'm going to be doing that via alternate day fasting, meaning I'm going to be doing 42-hour fasts and then refeeding and then doing another 42-hour fast and hoping that I maintain weight, that I stay at the weight I'm currently at, which is around 125 to upwards of, my guess is around 135. But that's going to be a trial and error thing. And as this journey continues, I'll document and I'll share my thoughts with you. Now, why 42 hours? The same reason I was doing 65 hours, the same reason I was doing 90 hours is because it's convenient. It's a number that fits into my schedule that can be routinely applied over and over so that when I eat, it kind of falls in that same time frame. That's really all there is to it. But the reason that I do a longer fast, even though 42 doesn't seem as long to me anymore after doing 65s and 90s for so much longer. But with 42-hour fasts, it gives me the opportunity to eat more, to have a much higher caloric intake instead of doing a 23-hour fast or a 16-hour fast and eating twice a day. The one problem I have is portion control. And in past episodes of Break Fast or Refeed, you've seen me eat 6,000, 7,000 calories easily in a 4-5 hour eating window. And now this is going to get scaled back just a bit with 42-hour fasts at about a 4,500 caloric intake. This method will allow me to continue to not eat back-to-back days. Eating back-to-back days isn't something that I want to do, but now it'll give me the opportunity to eat every other day and hopefully maintain my weight from here on out. I want to point out here that calories are only a guide. Counting these calories, it isn't foolproof. A lot of this has been trial and error. A lot of it is counting what I eat to see how much I actually intake, and then looking at the scale and figuring out what's been working, what continues to lose weight for me, what has added weight, so on and so forth. And I've tried to combine that with my fasting. Again, see, there's a whole system to it. A lot of it is really just dependent on you, which is also why I always preach about not doing exactly what I do, but finding what works for you. Counting these calories is only a guide. Just because I'm giving myself a 4,500 calorie limit doesn't mean that it's going to maintain my weight. It could make me gain. It could make me lose. A lot of it also depends on exercise, but we're going to get into that in a bit. If you know me well enough, limiting my calories will probably be my hardest challenge. I'm going to be taking away about 1,500 calories from what I normally eat when I refeed. In return, though, I'm going to be able to eat more days a week. Because of this, though, the diet plays a bigger part. Nutrition probably is going to play a bigger part. I can't just be as lax when I eat. I'm going to have to be a little more mindful this time. Now, I'm not going to be eliminating macros. I don't like doing that. Doing that is a trigger for me, but I will be a little more mindful when it comes to carbs. I want to up protein. I want to up fat and maybe take it a little easier on carbs. I'll always be transparent about this like I have. You've seen it on my episodes of Break Fast and Refeed. And actually tonight, I will be breaking my very first 42-hour fast, and I'll be filming myself for an episode of Refeed that I'll post tomorrow. One last thing though, I won't be just limiting my calories. Because I get to eat more often now, I'm also going to be limiting my refeeding window. Typically I do around 4 to 5 hours, and now I'm going to scale that back from 2 to 3 hours, tops. Closing that window tight should help, I think, limit those calories and get me back in a fat burning mode, especially since I'm going to be eating more during the week. Eating more times during the week is what I meant. Now, this balancing act of fasting and feasting is also going to be really dependent on exercise. And not just exercise, but how active I am throughout the day in general. Typically, I walk anywhere between 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 miles, which is anywhere between 10,000 and maybe 15,000 steps a day. Sometimes I'll go for a bike ride. Sometimes I climb stairs more than I typically do. Just depends. Sometimes I'll do bodyweight exercises like push-ups and sit-ups and, well, not a lot of sit-ups. More push-ups. But now I'm also adding strength training. I'm going to be trying to put on muscle. I'm going to see if I can lose any excess fat, if there is excess fat to lose. But really the focus is continuing what I'm doing, but adding muscle in the process. I've heard that the more muscle mass you have, the more your body burns calories at rest. So this might even give me the opportunity to still eat a little more calories, and I'd be totally happy with that. Honestly, what I would love to do is maybe get one of those DEXA scans done so it shows how much fat I have and muscle I have. But I've heard those are kind of pricey. But if I can get that done, I'll definitely do that and then share the results with you guys. I don't know. It might be interesting to do. I'll have to take a look and see what prices are for that. So just an FYI, I unpaused my gym membership yesterday. I went to the gym for the first time yesterday in, I think, almost 9 months. Ever since COVID had the lockdown, and then I've been kind of hesitant to go, but I went yesterday. I'm very sore today, and before I left yesterday, I actually talked to a trainer, kind of gave him my story, told him what was going on, and we have our first session this coming Tuesday. I'll still be lifting in between that time, but I'm excited. I'm excited more about getting my form down right. I'm not too worried about how much I lift or anything like that. Really, I don't care about the numbers that way. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, that I'm preventing any kind of injury. And then whatever I lift is what I lift. I don't know how strong I am just yet. I mean, I was trying to do bench presses and it felt a lot less than I normally have, but I've also lost 40 pounds since I've been to the gym last. So lastly, there's the mindset of everything, the mentality of everything. I think I have a lot of these other things in check: fasting, exercise, the nutrition part, mostly. But where am I at in my head? Because while you might be able to go gung-ho right at the beginning, eventually something isn't going to click. It's not going to be perfect. And then you're going to need to figure out how to work around these things so you can continue. One of my biggest fears at the moment is the scale. And that's because I'm going to be eating more often. And I know that my body's going to hold water weight. I'm going to the gym now, lifting. So I know that might add more weight. I mean, I don't really know how much muscle I'm going to add right away, but either way, there's a fear of the scale. And that's something that I am trying to let go right now. The thing is, I cannot keep looking at that scale and obsessing over it. In the same respect, I am still using that scale. I'm still going to weigh every day because I'm looking at that scale as a guide. Just like counting calories, it's not perfect science. The scale is not perfect science either because there are so many variables, but I'm using both of those as a guide to kind of keep that balancing act, if you will. Whether the scale goes up or down, I am sticking to my 42s. I am trusting the process. If there's one thing that I've learned in these 14, 15 months is to trust the process. The consistency is my success. The consistency is my success. The consistency is my success. Let's not forget, I lost a lot of weight at the very beginning, but it took nearly 6 months to lose the last 10 pounds to get where I'm at right now. I lowered my fasting number to 65 almost 6 months ago, and a lot of that was to help the mindset, to like relieve the stress of doing a longer fast. And for the most part, it was enjoyable. And I woke up every day and it didn't feel like a struggle. Do you know what I mean? That's why I talk about this still being enjoyable. For the most part, you're going to have difficulties. You're going to have those challenges. And then there are days that you want to challenge yourself. But for the most part, you want this to be an everyday thing. You want this to be a lifestyle. When I talk about my mindset and where I'm at mentally, and then I look at all of these components that I'm trying to put together, a lot of it looks pretty rigid, like a pretty rigid structure. And I know that it's not going to be perfect. I know I'm going to have my ups and downs. I know there are going to be days that I'm probably going to overeat. I know there are days I'm probably going to eat things that I shouldn't eat, but I got to be okay with that. I know there are days that I'm probably going to be eating outside of my fasting window or my refeeding window. I know there are days that I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to feel like exercising or lifting weights, or I'm going to wake up and I might have a cold or a flu or, God forbid, anything worse. But I got to work through that. I have to mentally tell myself that these bad days are going to come, but it's about handling those days and moving forward. And then you're going to have those unexpected days that has nothing to do with fasting or nutrition or exercise, but something happening in your life. It doesn't mean that you might end up eating wrong, not exercising because of the stress when it comes to that. But there's always the opportunity to fight that, to accept it. And no matter what happens, you move on with your life. You let the good days outweigh the bad days. You want to be able to not get into that bad day slump where one bad day turns into 3, turns into a week, a month, and then before you know it, you can't control it. And then you're back in this cycle. You want to break that cycle. If you guys like this video, do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up button. It does support what I do. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to subscribe. I also have a Patreon if you want to support me that way. I do offer coaching there. I offer accountability check-in posts and a couple other perks. So feel free to check that out. Otherwise, that's it. I'm refeeding tonight. Can't wait. A little scared to limit my calories, but you're going to get to see that tomorrow on the episode of Refeed. So with that being said, that's it for me. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good one. Bye.